More from the Claremont Hotel. I've got Geoff Corkish here, responsibility for tourism. I mean, this is a tourist event, isn't it, tonight, just for the travel agents? But obviously pushing the air links between here and the UK. Important?
Everything is important to do with tourism and profiling the Isle of Man. One of the great strengths we have in the Isle of Man is its fantastic destination right in the middle of the Irish Sea. But here we have tonight some of the movers and shakers in the tourism world who are so important to us. They are the people who are working at the coalface, actually encouraging people. They've come to the Isle of Man, they see what the Isle of Man has to offer. The links, fantastic links we have to the Isle of Man from wherever. So they are the people who can go back and say, I've been to the Isle of Man, I've seen it, I've tasted it. Yeah, it's a great place, go there. And it's up to us to sell the Isle of Man with all its great points. And here on the island, certainly from the Department of Tourism point of view, we are driving up the standards with the many award schemes that we have, and we have a very passionate and enthusiastic tourist industry here on the Isle of Man.
Okay,
Big changes.
Here's an airline that's opening these routes using small aircraft, of course. I mean, this seems to be where it's going almost. It's a much more bespoke sort of service. And then on the other hand, you've got Flybe, who've had now to pull out of one of their services to Bristol. What do you think to that?
Well, it's always a shame to see some of our links going. Having said that, there are always people in the wings, no pun intended, who are taking up the challenge of bringing people to and forth for so many reasons, not only as holiday makers, but visiting friends and relatives here on the Isle of Man, and also for business reasons. And I think one of the niche areas we have here, certainly on the smaller aircraft, is the ease and availability of getting back and forward, certainly for business meetings, but great for the holiday maker, of course, too.
But numbers are down again at the airport, aren't they? There's never been a really good upswing recently in the figures they've been able to produce.
Yes, changes certainly in the patterns of the way people are travelling. Now, I'm not a pundit. Why do these changes happen? We had the Olympics this year. That put a lot of people off travelling. London lost out a great deal on the normal traveller, can I say, who put off travelling there. So their numbers will be down as well, as will other places. I think what we have here in the Isle of Man is a trend, I think, of people coming to the Isle of Man for so many reasons, not only for tourism. Tourism is important, very important. There's very few people in the Isle of Man who are not affected, whether they know it or not, by how successful tourism is. But people coming here for so many different reasons. And I think if we can maintain that varying reason for people to come here, that's going to keep the airlines and indeed all the travel services of the Isle of Man buoyant, using the Isle of Man as a great base for travel.
I mean, are you happy with the way it's going? I mean, surely you're always looking for further development, I presume, to get people on. I mean, obviously the planes go both ways, so makes people going off island, but you want to get the spend to come in, aren't you?
Which is absolutely the reason why I'm here tonight and glad to be here, that we're encouraging, wherever we can, people to come to the Isle of Man. Tonight we're encouraging people on the Manx 2 routes in particular, but there are so many routes, and I'm glad to say that the Manx 2 people are so proactive in what they do here, and we're finding this now in tourism throughout, not only the accommodation providers here on the Isle of Man, but everything to do with tourism. We now see new hotels coming on the market all the time. Huge amount of refurbishment and investment in. Now, why is that? It's because people are coming to the Isle of Man for so many different reasons. It's up to us in the Department of Tourism to help sustain, maintain, create the reasons for people to come to the Isle of Man. On the back of that, and with the help of Manx 2 and all the other carriers that are on the Isle of Man, that's all good for the Isle of Man. We'll all work together. Our strength is our size, because we can get together and work together and create a plan.
Have you got anything up your sleeve to be able to get more people here? Because obviously the cost is prohibitive for a lot of people when they've got families and children and that sort of thing.
Well, that's right, and I think no matter where you're going to travel in the world today, cost is going to be a problem. Travel costs ain't going to go down. They get, and here indeed in the Isle of Man, special offers arrive, come and go all the time. That's a necessary part of marketing. What we need to do in the Isle of Man, what we do here, is create reasons for people to come to the Isle of Man. More and more we see people using the Isle of Man as a short break. People don't come here for the fortnight anymore. Do people go for a fortnight anywhere anymore unless it's very hot or it's a special deal? Here we see people come to the Isle of Man because there's a reason to come to the Isle of Man. Yes, they'll come here because of the serenity, the peacefulness, the security of the place, and that's great. They'll come for the scenery, they'll come for the quality of life, but they'll also come for special events. And we have a TT triathlon coming up at the end of June next year. TT, of course, is gaining momentum all the time, having said that after 100 years it's going to disappear altogether. The Manx Grand Prix Festival taking on a new life, and also cycle events coming. Cycle is very much an item of the moment. So a lot going on to create that ongoing interest in the Isle of Man.
But what's your war chest like? I mean, your budget must be being constricted like everybody else's.
Absolutely. We have to be more and more conscious of what and how we spend our money. At one time, television was a great way to do it. Television is so expensive.
And are we going to see any more people jumping off cliffs on television?
Oh, I think
adverts, actually paid for adverts.
Perhaps not television adverts at the moment, because that is an expensive way to do it, and we have to spend our money much wisely. What you will see is advertising the fact that the Isle of Man is a great adventure island, and that's the places where you can do this. We find there's a high net worth individuals who want to cover extreme sports, who want to do things that they can't do anywhere else, and what better place to come? The exoticism of coming out of the UK into.
You're not going to pay for advertising. It's just going to be the below the line sort of stuff.
No,
is
we
it?
pay for it. What we have been doing, you may have noticed that we have a lot more advertorials now. All the major newspapers, magazines.
You pay for that, or do you just give them a free holiday?
Well, there is no, we don't pay for that. If we can not pay for that,
so below the line,
it will cost us in familiarity visits for them to come and taste the Isle of Man, and then you get a great write-up, which you couldn't afford to pay for. So the estimated advertising value, the EAV that we see now is huge. We couldn't put that amount of money into advertising, but there are subtle ways of putting the Isle of Man to the fore, and I think we succeeded there, because more and more you'll see in all the big nationals, weekend as well as midweek issues, you'll see big adverts about the adverts in that they're talking about the Isle of Man as a destination for all kinds of things.
Finally, are you happy in tourism?
I'm happier in tourism now than perhaps I was 5 years ago. There is an upsurge now in new hotels. Now, that what we've tried to do, for what I've tried to do, and the team too, is to encourage that confidence in the business. And now you'll see a lot of investment, hotels. We have about 140 tourism-related businesses in the pipeline wanting to be a part of the tourism scene. Now, that's all to do with what we're doing here, attracting people to the Isle of Man, new hotels, cruise visits are up. We've got about 19 vessels at the moment interested in coming, and said they're coming to the Isle of Man next year. That's all business to the Isle of Man. And more, I hope people are, and that's the message we're trying to put over, the tourism is so important. It is a support there for so many parts of the Isle of Man that people don't realise just how far the tentacles of tourism stretch. It affects so many people, the ordinary man in the street.